Heidi ho, my crafty friends. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. So today I thought we would start on our small series of making craft bases. Or journal bases, I'm sorry. So the first base we're going to make is out of a tea box. Now I'm a tea drinker, so I have lots and lots of these little boxes. And this is just a little box that your tea bags comes in. So you can make this out of any size. Now this would be a mini journal. And this measures, let me tell you the width of this. This measures, let's see. Now I'm not going to count this part because I'm going to cut it off. So this measures 3 inches by 5. So this would be a 3 by 5. And I'm just taking it apart by the seams. I'm just using my fingers and I'm just pulling it apart at the seams. Now this isn't going to include paper. It's not going to include marking the spine. It's not going to include any of that. We're just going to create the base. I'm just going to cover it, and that's all I'm going to do. So we're going to save these until later, for whenever we want to create one, or whenever you want to create one. You're feeling kind of creative and you want to get in there and make a journal, but you don't have a lot of time or take the time. You don't want to take the time to, come up with something. It's already created. So here we go. My box is flat. So now I need to decide where my spine is going to be. So I need to cut off all this across the edging. Okay, all I want is this middle part to start with. So this is the paper I'm going to use to cover my box. It's by Crafter's Companion and it's called Distressed Florals. And it is gorgeous paper, and we are going to look at it in just a moment. So let's do some cutting real quick. So I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to use my knife. And I'm just going to line it up here. And I'm just going to cut along the seams there. And I'm just cutting off those edges, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it around. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, just like that. Okay, so I didn't get it real straight right there. So I need to line it up again. Because this, you need to make sure it's straight. You need to make sure that when you cut inside the line. Now let me show you what I mean. If you look right here where the fold is, now let me grab my dauber and show you. If you look where the fold is, see the fold right here, where the fold of the box was? You want to cut inside that fold, okay? I cut on the outside. You want to cut on the inside, like I did over here. So I need to place my ruler again, and I need to bring it to the inside so that I'm cutting on the inside of that line. Because with these little journals like this, you don't want to cut on the outside of that line. It just makes them really hard to fold. So by cutting on the inside, they give you a straighter line and an easier fold. Now we don't need all this little stuff. So all this little piddly, it's trash. Don't even attempt to use it. Now we don't need this part. So you can cut that off the same way. Okay. We don't. Okay, and you don't need this part. This part where you would open the box, you don't want that part. So let's cut that part first. Before we cut anything else, let's cut that part. because the other end may end up being the front of our journal. So let's go on and cut that. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3 sections in this little flap. So this little flap could be interesting. It could be very interesting because you could have a journal that goes like this. I mean, that's a fat little journal, and have that as your closure. But I don't want a journal that's that wide. I mean, that's like 6, 8 signatures right there. That's a fat little dude. And I don't want my journal that big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one side. Actually, I'm going to cut this side. And I'm going to make it, I'm actually going to cut it. Let's see, that's 3 inches. I don't want it that big. I'm going to cut it down to about 2 inches. I'm going to cut it down so that it's 2 inches. I can deal with 2 inches. 3 inches? That's a lot of signatures for this little book. And I don't think it would handle it very well. Okay, so I'm lining it up. Just lining it up on my mat. And if I could reach to the top of my, to the very tip top of my shelf here, I would show you my other little one that I made. It's a little Christmas one. I'd show you what it looks like, but I don't think I can reach up there without climbing. Okay, so I've cut that down. So now what I need to do is I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to glue that to the inside like that. And that's just going to give me a little more support. I'm not going to cut it off because then this is, flippy floppy. So I'm just going to glue that to the inside, and I'm going to use, where is it? Here it is. I'm just going to use my art glitter glue. And I'm just going to make sure it's glued up really well. Well, first I need to make sure that it's open. Now, I do have to tell you, before I could even make this video today, I needed to spend, it literally took me 3.5 hours to clean up my craft room. That's how much of a disarray it was in. Because I've been working on 3 journals at a time for April and the first half of May. I still have a private class that I haven't quite finished with yet. So 3 journals at one time. It's been a little busy. And I'll show you that journal that we've been working on after we finish it. Okay. So there, that's finished. That's glued down in place. Now, to make sure that stays there, you can also take a piece of masking tape and put across there. That will hold it. You can take a piece of your book tape. You can take a piece of your any tape that you want and put across there. But I feel confident that that's going to hold it, because when I'm ready to cover the inside of it, that will also hold it. Now, I am going to glue down this little piece of paper that's sticking up from when I pulled this apart. I'm just going to glue that down so it doesn't tear anymore. And I have a little tiny piece up here that I'm going to glue down. Just a little tiny piece right there. There we go. Okay. Now, that gives me a little more of a workable spine. Yeah, see, it's already wiggled a little bit. But it gives me a little bit more of a workable spine. And I'm going to let that dry. And then I'm going to fold it in. And I'm going to trim right up to the edge here anything that wiggled out of place. Can you see where it wiggled out of place right here? I'm going to trim off anything that wiggled out of place. And I'm going to be very careful about it. And I'm going to use my smaller knife to do it. So to do that, I'm going to put my ruler up here. And I'm actually going to use my smaller mat I'm going to line my ruler up. And I'm very, very carefully going to follow my ruler. Okay, I think I need a new blade in here because that should have cut that. Oops. There we go, right there. There we go. Now that got off anything that was wiggled out of place. Now I'm going to put that over there in my little tray to remind me to put a new blade in it. Okay, so now I'm nice and flush. Now, you can keep those if you want, or you can get rid of them. You don't need all this little stuff, so I'm putting that in the trash. Now, I'm going to cover the outside of my journal. I don't know that I'm going to cover the inside of it. It just depends at this point. I might. So, to cover this, like I told you, I'm going to use this paper. And it's by Crafter's Companion. Now, let's get some of this off the desk here so we can see what we're doing. Now, if you want to have a rounded corner journal, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to round your edges. Now's the time to do any inking. Now's the time to decide that. I will ink this paper after I get it on. This is called Distressed Florals. I love it. Love, love, love it. And we're going to do a quick flip through here of it. I'm going to try and, let me see if I can adjust my camera so you can see it. I want to make sure it's still in shot here. Yep, my camera has decided it's going to take a walk today for some reason. Okay, let's see if I can do it this way. It's lovely, lovely paper. There, let's try it that way. Whoops. You get, how many sheets do you get? You get two pages of each design. And it's printed on both pages. So I guess I'm going to have to turn it this way. And that's the back of it. You know, it looks like it's a peeling wall. And this is the next one. You know what? Let me move my calendar. Let's see if that helps. And then that's the back of that one. The backs of them are all very similar. They're just different tones. That's that one. Now I chose this one because the patterns are kind of small. And this one I really like. And you can, decide to place. And this one's really pretty on the back. It's got the yellow tones. So you can choose to do the inside of your journal on one side. And it's got music notes. I don't know if you can see it. It has music notes. It has all different types of paper on it in a yellow tone. It's really pretty. You can do this on the outside and the back of it on the inside, and it would be really pretty. This one is my favorite right here. And this is the back side of that one. It's more of a blue tone. And it's stamped with birds and flowers. And let's see if I can get it up there for you. It's just really pretty. It's kind of a faded image. Now, this one's pretty, but I think it's a little bit too big for my little journal. I think the pictures are a little bit too big. And there's the back of it. And if you like tulips, that one's really pretty. And there's the back of it. Now, I really like the back of the tulip one. I think it's really pretty. I really like the back of it, but the front is too big. And that's the next one. And there are bits and pieces of it that I like, but I think overall the pictures are too big for this one. Now, if we were doing a full-size journal, that's the one that I would choose. Now, that's the back of it. It's kind of got the greens and the pinks and the yellows, and it's all crackly and old. I really like that one. Now, this is my second favorite, this one. And I might do my little journal in this one because everything is nice and little. See, if I put it under here and I fold it, I can choose different spots. You know, like I could choose to do it from up here or down here. And this is the back of it. Look at the back of it. I just love the back of it. It's got peaches and creams and greens and grays and browns. And it's really, really pretty. And then there's this one. So this paper is really lovely. And then there's this one again. It's kind of a sepia color, and it's stamped. This one is just, oh my gosh, this one is just fabulous. But it's too big of a print for this little one. I may use this one for the next one that we do because it's just fabulous. And this is the back of it. And that is all of them. So let me go back here to the one that I liked to do. And I think it was this one with the little key. Is this it? I think it was. Was that the one? Yeah, because I think the others were too big. So I've been saving this paper. I've had it since... Oh gosh, when did I get it? I got it last year, I think. Maybe? When did I get it? Yeah, I got it last year because I got it with my friend Kim when she still lived here, and she's been gone a while. So I think I want to use this top part up here. It's got butterflies, and it's got... so I'm just trying to place it around. Now, this is my spine, and I want to try to make this part of my cover or part of my closure. So I know I'm going to have to cut it off and extend it with some of those pieces that we cut off. Remember the pieces that we cut off? I'm going to have to extend it probably with this part, but that's why I didn't cut it off, because I want it to wrap around it. You know, I want it to come up and around. So I'm trying to figure out how I want this to cover this. And I think I want this part here. I think I want it to come in here like this. So to cover this onto here, I'm just going to use my glue stick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue stick And I am going to start, let's see here. I think I'm going to start here on this side. That's going to start over here because I want to make sure I get this lined up. And I'm going to make sure I have everything on the sides. And then I'm going to move to the middle. And I'm not going to do the other end. This is all I'm doing. Okay. Oh dear, I did the wrong side, didn't I? Well, I always get that backwards. So I'm laying this down where I want it. And then I'm stretching this out over here. And I'm lining it up to the top. Oh, no, no, no. No, 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 no. Oh my gracious, what did I do? What did I do? Lord, you are a ditz. I put it on the wrong side. What in the world was I thinking? Were you all screaming at me? Huh? Were you all screaming? Somebody should have been screaming. Holy cow. All right, let me get this. Let me wipe this little bit of glue off of here. Oh my heavens sakes alive. Okay, so this is the butterfly side. Somebody save me from myself because I think I need it today. There we go. Right there. In my brain, this is what I was doing. In reality, this is not what I was doing. Okay. Oh my good golly Moses. Now, let's take this side across. Holy guacamole. Okay, now I'm going to pick this side up. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Well, I take that back. I'm going to put it on the, I'm putting it on the right side here. Oh my gracious sakes, scare me to death. And I'm going to include my little closure. Oh my heavens. And I'm going to lay it down. And I know I've got glue oozing out down here. I'll get to that in just a second. I'm going to do that right now. And I'm going to get it across the top. Okay. Now, as you can tell, I didn't get it all the way straight in my hurried moments, but that's okay. I'll trim that here in a second. Now, I have this piece over here left. So what I want to do is I'm going to go on and glue this piece down. But I want... Oh, now I've got the hiccups. I scared myself so bad. I'm giving myself the hiccups. Oh my gosh, I'm giving myself the hiccups, you guys. Okay. Now, to take care of this little punch-out spot, in case I have to use more of this than I think I do, on the back of this to support this, I'm going to take a piece of this and I'm just going to cover it. Okay, I'm going to cut this off and I'm just going to cover it like that. Okay. I don't think that'll show, but I just want to make sure that that's firm enough down that if I have to cut it and bend it, you know, it doesn't come through. It doesn't break through. It should be okay, but I guess we'll find out, won't we? Now, I wonder, I don't know, that's really going to be, that is really going to be bunchy. I wonder if I should just use a piece of cardstock. We're going to put that up. Let me just grab a piece of cardstock here. That's a little less chunky. I think that might work better. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think that'll work better. I think that'll work much better. All right, so I'm going to cover this with cardstock. It's just a real thin piece of cardstock right here. And I'm going to just come all the way down so it doesn't have a bump here in the middle. There. It'll have equal ones on the end, but it won't have such a big one in the middle. But I think it'll be okay that way. But that way, if I do need to cut it and bend it around, at least it has some support. Okay, now let's make sure that that's stuck down really well. Okay, now I want to put this here like that, and that'll give me okay, that's the little piece that was stuck there. And if I don't need it for my closure, I can always use what's left for pockets. Okay. Okay. Now let's go over this one more time. Make sure we don't have any bubbles. Okay, let's put that away. Okay, this little piece here needs to dry before I do anything with it, because I don't want it sticking to anything. And I don't need these little pieces. Now, let's get this cut out. Now, I'm going to not cut that piece out yet. I'm going to give it a minute to dry. All right, we're going to let that piece dry. We're going to move that piece all the way. Now, where's that? Right there. So we need to trim right across there. So we're going to do it the same as how we did it on the front. We're going to line up our ruler. And we're going to use the paper as the guide. And we're just going to follow the ruler. Okay. Okay. So this is basically the front, the spine, and the back. Front, spine, and back. This will be our closure area. This will help it be our closure if we need it. So let's get it cut. Now I know we are supposed to wait for it to dry. But you also know me, I'm not going to. Now, because of the size of this, we'll be able to put about 3 signatures in here. Now, because the journal's so little, you know, our signatures are going to have to be this size. So, on the inside of this, now's the time to measure This measures 5 inches tall. And let's see here. Let's do, I think we said 3 by 5, right? Isn't that what we said? Let me get this and do some scoring here before I try to fold it. I think we said 3 by 5. Is that what we said? I don't remember. All right, so I'm just using my little baby scoreboard, and I'm just scoring down where I want it to fold. Oops, missed the... And I'm going to go around to the other side and do... Whoops! Get back in that line. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And that will help it fold. Okay. Okay, here we go. Give me my first one. There we go. Okay, there's our 2-inch one. So it's 5 inches tall. And it ended up being just a little over 2.5 inches wide. Let's see. Yeah, just a little bit over 2.5 inches wide. Okay, now remember, this is going to try to be our closure. Now, to be our closure, it is going to have to be longer. And our spine is 2 inches. So we have a 2-inch spine. So in that 2-inch spine, now if you don't want a 2-inch spine, make it smaller. Make it a 1-inch spine. And the other one that I made, my spine was, boy, I wish I could get up there and get it for you. Hold on here. I see my step stool. Wait a second, I'll show it to you. Hold on a minute. Okay, this is my other one that I did. And this one wasn't made out of a tea box. It was made out of like a little pre-made mix box. And it has 2 little signatures in it. And it is almost 1.5 inches wide. But if you'll notice, it's about 3 inches wide and 6 inches tall. So it's a 3 by 6, but the pages are small and they're so much fun to decorate because everything's mini, you know, so it's a lot of fun because instead of having great big pages, you know, to look at or to deal with, everything's small. So everything is no bigger than the size of a tea bag, is width-wise. So, you know, you can play in it anytime that you want. So that's kind of what we're going to do with this one. We're just going to play in it, or for you can just play in it anytime you want. And this one, these are sewed in with twine. They're not sewed in with anything else, just with glittery twine. And it's covered with paper. And it's several years old, and the paper is just now starting to, you know, to give up a little bit. He's finally said, I've had enough. But, you know, he's lasted quite a bit. Okay. So, we've got him covered on the front. And I do think I want to go on and cover him on the inside. Now, I'm going to go on and score this. So I'm going to line it up here. Oops. How about if I scooch all the way over? Maybe I can just do it by the natural fold. There we go. Okay. Yeah, see, it will need to be, it goes that way, but it needs to be longer to wrap around. So I'm glad I went on and covered this piece, because I can put this piece either on the inside and bring it around, or because this piece really is different than this, I can make that into a pocket or something else, and I can pick another area of the paper and cover for the closure, or I can just cut this off and use this piece here as a belly band. You know, I can do something like that. Now, before I do anything else on here, before I cover it, before I cover the inside, I'm going to go on and ink around my edges, all around my edges. Now, if you don't, you know the rules. If you don't like this, then of course don't do this. But I'm going to go on and cover my edges, or cover my inside. So I want to go on and ink around the top and the bottom and the sides. And while I'm doing that, I'm pondering, do I want to keep that, or do I want to get rid of that and use that for something else? I think I want to keep it. I'm just, you know, trying to figure out the best way to use it. Now, I do want to, I think I'm going to use this. And I want to bring it in here a little bit. Especially here on the corner. I'm just using a scrap. Just a little scrap of the box. And I'm not really, you know, worried about it too much. It's just if my paper doesn't reach the corner after what I just did on the front, I want to make sure that I don't have white showing. So I'm just trying to prepare for that, just in case I make a boo-boo. There, you know, I don't want to have white showing. All right, now to cover the inside, I could just cut one whole piece. Well, I've done that before, and one whole solid piece does not work well on inside covers like this. It does not bend well. So you need to find your top and your bottom, and you need to decide where, you know, where you want your pieces to go. Now, I want mine to go like this, except I'm going to use the back side. I want this side, and I want to start over here. And I need to line this up, and I need to make sure, now, I'm going to be brave, honestly. I'm going to be brave. Since I'm not putting paper in it right now, I'm going to put it under my mat, and I'm going to let it dry flat. I am going to just cover it with one whole piece. I can still feel the glue. I'm going to cover it with one whole piece. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a try. So, and again, I'm going to just use my glue stick. So, I'm going to give it a try. Because, and the only reason I'm doing this is because we're not adding paper immediately. So, but I do want my glue. I do want this. Because I just cleaned my mat. And it looks like I need to clean it again. So, I'm going to start in the corner. And I'm just going to do one section at a time. And I'm going to make sure I have a lot of glue on it. Now, if you don't really trust your glue stick, then you can also use art glitter glue. Now you also need to make sure if your paper has a direction that your paper's going in the right direction. I have a flower down here that's going in, one direction, so that I do have a direction. So I need to make sure that my paper is going the right way and that it is lined up. Okay. Now there is that one section done. Now, I know myself. Had I tried to do this whole thing all at one time, it would not have worked. I would not have been able to do it because I know myself. I would not have been able to do it. So I am making sure that this section is down. So I'm going to pull my paper back all the way back. Now I'm going to do the spine area. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make sure across the spine at the top, I'm going to come all the way down. And I'm going to make sure that this is just slathered in glue. And then I'm going to let this completely dry overnight. And I'm going to let it dry flat. I'm not going to mess with it. Now I'm going just a little bit past. Just a little bit. I went right to here with my glue. Here's my spine. Right there's where my glue stops. And I did that for a purpose. So that I can keep this straight. I want to make sure I keep this straight. There we go. That is my main purpose right now, is keeping my paper straight. Okay. Get off of there. Now I have one section left. And then I'm going to trim off the bottom. And whatever's left, I'm going to use in my little journal here. I'm going to keep it with it. I'm just going to, paper clip it all together. And I'll be able to use that. Now, our next video, we're going to work on making my closure. Okay. Now, I need to make sure I get the glue off my fingers first. I want this to dry. And then we're going to make my closure. And then this little cover is done. That's all I'm doing. I'm not putting paper in it. I'm just going to put it aside. And then when I'm ready to play, I've got a little cover that's ready to go. Okay. And I'll have some of the paper that I used ready to go with me, because this paper that I'm cutting off right now, I'm going to keep with it. This paper here that I've cut off, I'm going to keep with it. I'm going to put inside the journal and keep with it so that I can use for maybe tags, or maybe make a tag or a belly band or a pocket or something. But I'll have some matching paper that I can use for it. Now, one of the next ones we're also going to make a soft cover one. We're going to make a hard cover one from a book. Okay, let's make sure everything is down. Now, if you do miss someplace, like in your corners, maybe you miss someplace around this top area, don't panic. If you're using a glue stick, don't panic. Get your art glitter glue out and just squirt some art glitter glue in there. Don't panic. It's okay. That's why I use my bone folder to go over everything and make sure everything is down. Because sometimes it looks like it's coming up, and other times it's just because I haven't squished it down real good. Now, when you're using things like this, see how it's getting wobbly? Can you see that? It's getting wibbly wobbly. Well, that's because it's just really thin cardstock. That's all this is. If you look at this, this is just cardstock. So that's why you need to dry it flat under something. This is going to go, it's going to get wrapped in a piece of this, and it's going to go under my mat with some books on top of it for the night. And it will dry completely flat. And then when I'm ready, because I've already pre-folded it once, the way I wanted it to fold, I'll be ready to go. And then if I want to round my corners, I can use my big chomper and I can round my corners. I can ink it again. You know, I can do whatever I want to do, but it has to dry before I can do any of that. If I tried to do that now, it would just tear the paper. That's just all there is to it. So I need to make sure I save that. Okay, so this is going to be my closure. This still needs covered. So I need to put, let's see, I think this piece goes here. This goes here. Or I can turn it this way. Like this. I think I can turn it like that. So we need to cover this inside of this. So let's go on and get this piece covered too. Especially since I don't particularly like the way that other piece turned out. Where the flower ended up. I will probably use this piece for the cover. Okay, let's see. I don't think this side really has a one way or the other. So let's get this piece down. Okay, and let's get this piece trimmed. Okay, now that piece also needs to dry. Okay, so this is what I have left so far, plus the whole paper pad, of course, I can use. Okay, so that can go to the trash. All right, both of these pieces need to dry overnight. So to do that, we're going to go in here. And the reason I put them in here is just in case I have some glue on them. Just in case. I don't want them to stick to my mat and, you know, and get torn. So I put them like that. Cover them up. And you can either put heavy books on them. You can put them under your mat. Whatever you have. But you want them to be flat to dry. You want them to be totally flat to dry. And you don't want to disturb them. You want them to just lay still so that they can dry for the night. And then, you know, walk away. Your day is done. Okay? Alrighty. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad you did. And I hope you have a super weekend and a great afternoon. And in our next video, we're going to add the closure. And remember, we're not adding any paper. Of course, you can add paper if you choose to do so and just not complete the journal. You can just put the journal away. Or if you want to add the paper and just put the journal aside with paper in it, you can do that also. That's completely up to you. So, that way it's ready whenever you're ready for it. But for now, we're going to let it dry. And then in the next video, we'll get the cover completed. And maybe we'll have the time that we can start on our next cover, which will be a soft cover journal. And we'll just go from there. And we'll get a few journal covers completed to put into our stash. So until I see you in our next Ladybug Journal videos, ta-ta for now.